Now that the clocks have gone back, we're definitely into the new observing season, as it's now totally dark by 6:25 p.m. All we now need is clear skies. Let's start off with the solar system objects, as we always do. Mercury passes in front of the Sun, or is at inferior conjunction, on November the 17th, so will not be visible until towards the end of the month, when it may be spotted well down to the lower left of Saturn and Venus. Its magnitude rises from 3.2 on the 21st to minus 0.2 on the 30th. At month's end, its 44% illuminated disk will be 7.6 arcseconds across. Before dawn on the 30th, Saturn, Venus and Mercury will be lined up in the eastern sky. Mercury will be close to its greatest elongation from the Sun and, with a magnitude of minus 0.2, will be the best view that we get of this planet for some months. Venus rises about 3 hours before the Sun this month, and with a magnitude close to minus 4 dominates the pre-dawn sky. It started the month at an elevation of approximately 25 degrees as dawn broke, but this will drop to approximately 17 degrees at dawn by month's end. This chart shows the position of the planet at 5 o'clock on the 8th. During the month, its angular size drops from 13.3 to 11.8 arcseconds, but at the same time, the percentage illumination increases from 81% to 88%, so the brightness hardly changes from minus 4 to minus 3.9. Just before dawn on the 27th, Venus will lie in Virgo, close to the boundary with Libra, just 0.8 of a degree to the lower right of Saturn, which will be a nice little grouping to observe. They differ in brightness by 4.6 magnitudes, so that Venus will be almost 100 times brighter than Saturn. Mars, moving eastwards into Sagittarius on the 27th, is visible low in the west after sunset. It starts this month shining at magnitude 1.2. This remains constant during the month, while its angular diameter falls from 4.6 to 4.4 arcseconds, so you certainly won't see any surface markings on its disk with a telescope. On the first of the month, its elevation was about 10 degrees in the southwest as darkness fell 1 hour after sunset, and this will remain pretty much the same throughout the month. Personally, I wouldn't bother with it. It's just too low to make any sensible observation of it, and it is very, very small at the moment. That said, after sunset on the 16th, which is when this chart is for, the planet will be seen below a thin crescent moon in the southwestern sky, so that will be worth a quick look. This is the first of 3 great months to observe Jupiter. It now lies in Taurus, and so is I in the ecliptic, and hence, when due south, at an elevation of almost 60 degrees. As can be seen in this amateur image that was taken recently, the north equatorial band has now become very broad, and the great red spot is currently a pale shade of pink, but can easily be seen as a large feature in the southern equatorial belt. An imaging opportunity occurs at the end of November, when a complete rotation can be observed at an elevation of greater than 20 degrees against a dark sky. Jupiter is at opposition on the 3rd of December. Jupiter currently rises around 8 p.m. and it will then be seen all night. At the end of the month, as shown in this chart, it will be due south at just after midnight. Shining at magnitude minus 2.7, it starts November lying just 7 degrees to the upper left of the star Aldebaran, the eye of the bull. Jupiter is moving westwards in the sky in retrograde motion and will do so until the beginning of February 2013. So while its magnitude increases to minus 2.8, it will end the month slightly closer to Aldebaran at approximately 5 degrees away, as it moves above the Hyades cluster. Over the month, the angular diameter increases from 47 to 48.4 arcseconds, so even a small telescope will show plenty of detail, with the bright zones and darker bands crossing the disk and up to 4 Galilean moons visible. Saturn, which can be seen here in a recently released Cassini image, passed behind the Sun on the 25th of October, so at the beginning of the month was just 6 degrees away from the Sun and lost in its glare. But during the month, its separation from the Sun increases to 32 degrees, and so, by month's end, it will rise 3 hours before sunrise and will be visible above the eastern horizon. Binoculars will probably be needed to spot the magnitude 0.7 planet low above the horizon towards this weekend, but don't use your binoculars after the sun has risen. By mid-month it will be easier to spot, and this is the good news, the rings have now opened out to 18 degrees from the line of sight and will be at their best for 6 years. This chart shows the planet's position at 6:15 AM on the 30th. We're now observing the southern hemisphere, whilst much of the northern hemisphere will be hidden by the rings. With a small scope you should be able to spot the Cassini division within the rings if the seeing is good, but we will have to wait a month or so for Saturn to rise higher into the pre-dawn sky for really good views. Uranus is well placed, reaching an altitude of 38 degrees when it's due south. At magnitude 5.7 you should just about be able to see it with the naked eye from a dark site, and you'll definitely find it with binoculars. A small scope will resolve its 3 arc-second disk, but of course a disk that small you won't see any detail on. As can be seen here, it's quite easy to locate by extending a line down from the left hand side of the square of Pegasus. Neptune, with a magnitude of 7.8, should be easily seen in binoculars under a dark early evening sky. It'll be due south around 6:30 in the evening. Neptune lies around 2 degrees above the star Iota Aquarii as shown on the chart. Now this is an area of sky without many bright stars to use as a guide, so as I've said over the last couple of months, a go-to scope is a definite advantage in helping to find this planet. Here's the lunar dates for this month. Last quarter, November the 7th, new moon, November the 13th, first quarter will be November the 20th, and the full moon will be on the 28th. One last thing to mention before we leave the solar system. We have a meteor shower this month. On the nights of the 16th and 17th, the Earth passes close to the trails of cometary debris from comet Tempel-Tuttle, which produced the annual Leonid meteor shower. Happily, this year, the meteor shower is just a few days after new moon, so its light will not hinder our view. The best time to observe them will be after midnight, as our hemisphere is facing the stream of cometary debris. The dust particles are swept up by the Earth as they are released from comet Tempel-Tuttle, which rounds the Sun every 33 years. As implied by the name, the radiant of the shower, or where the meteors appear to radiate from, lies within the head or sickle of the constellation Leo the Lion. Now, let's have a look at this month's deep sky objects. I've altered the sky chart slightly this month, so now we've got the zenith marked by the red dot at the top and showing all the way down to the horizon. Looking south, mid-month at 9 PM, Pegasus dominates the sky, along with Triangulum to the left, with Pisces below them. This area, of course, contains M31, the Andromeda Galaxy, and M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. Here's M31, which is a naked eye object under a dark sky and looks very nice in a pair of binoculars. And here is M33, the Triangulum Galaxy, which is another spiral galaxy. Quite a large object, but very diffuse at the edges. Looking west, we still have the Summer Triangle, but it's getting well past its best, though still observable in the early evening. This of course contains the Ring Nebula M57, the Dumbbell Nebula M27, along with the North America and Pelican nebulas. And of course there is Albario, which is the nicest double star in the sky. To the left of Albario we do of course have the Veil Nebula, which is a nice thing to observe, but that is a telescopic object. If we look round to the north, we can see that Cassiopeia is up near the zenith, while low down we can see the Plough asterism in Ursa Major, which contains the deep sky objects M51, M81, M82 and M101, but currently it is too low down in the sky to sensibly observe any of these objects. Moving round to the east, we have Perseus, Auriga, and Taurus. Now Auriga does contain about 3 nice open clusters. Taurus has got the Hyades, and of course up above Perseus we have the double cluster, which again can be seen with the naked eye in a dark sky, from a dark site, but they're much better seen with binoculars or a telescope. Again, looking east at 9 o'clock at mid-month, we have M45, the Pleiades. This is a lovely object to observe either through binoculars or through a telescope. In this image here shows the nebulosity that the stars are currently passing through. Finally, let's look up near the zenith again. Here, on this chart for 10 PM on the 25th, we can see the location of NGC 891, an edge-on spiral galaxy. This is a reasonable size, being 13 arcseconds across, and a telescope will show the dust band running through the middle of it. Definitely a deep sky telescopic object to have a go at this month. That's it for this month's What's Up. Let's all hope that the colder, dark nights that we're now getting will bring some clear skies for us.